John Tesh, oh, look at him. Six-time Emmy winner, Radio Hall of Famer. He, of course, was on Entertainment Tonight. And he gave us Round Ball Rock. And he has come out with a first album of all original music. It's called Sports. And he can talk about that coming up as well. You've talked about that Round Ball Rock helped put your two kids through school, but what are you making off of this Round Ball Rock?
In 1990, when I heard the story, when I heard that NBC had gotten the rights to the NBA back, I'm in that sports ecosystem, right? Because I'm working for the network, doing other stuff, and I thought, well, what would a sports theme, what would an NBA theme sound like? And as the story goes, I woke up in the middle of the night in Megève, France, as I was covering the Tour de France, and had a melody in my head. And it was and I knew that if I went back to sleep, and I'm sure you've had this feeling, you have a great idea and you go back to sleep and it's gone. I didn't have a tape recorder or anything to put it down, sheet music, and so I called my answering machine in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. and recorded that. And when I got home, the two sections, and were on my answering machine.
Okay, can I play that? One of the portions of this is John Tesh calling himself.
Hi, this is a message for me about the NBA theme. Here's an idea. It goes like this.
Yeah, that's it. That's the original. It's the original.
It's
message.
been played over 12,000 times, John.
I know.
That's sports history.
Well, and it's supernatural for me because the first time it was on the air, and I was sitting in a bar watching it come on the air. I had written hundreds of themes for CBS in particular, football, everything from football to tennis, and so this was just another theme. It was sort of bouncy and not as epic as most of the stuff that I.
But are you telling people in the bar, "Hey, that's my theme. I wrote that."
Yeah, I did. It didn't go well. I'm sitting there I'm in Atlanta, and it's San Antonio. I think it was San Antonio versus the Lakers, and I had no family or anything, or friends in Atlanta. So I went to a bar knowing it was going to come on the air. And back then, only one network had the NBA, so it was on every TV set, and it was really loud, and there was a lot of people in there watching it. And so I'm sitting there for a while, and after the third time it came on the air, I couldn't help myself anymore, and I said to the bartender, "Do you hear that song?" And he goes, Yeah. Like if you never did, right? And I go, I wrote that, And he goes, "Oh yeah, you want another beer?" And that was it, So 2 days ago, whatever it was, last Tuesday, I'm sitting in a bar in New York City after doing the Today Show with my family, Italian family, watching 4 TVs at 25 years later, or 35 years later since it's debuted. And so, and we got the same reaction.
But when I go to one of your concerts, how long do I wait before you bring out Round Ball Rock?
Well, it's really strategic because my concerts are women who have dragged their boyfriends or their husbands to a John Tesh concert, and they do that because they're looking for a little relationship cred, right? So the husbands are like this, and we joke about it in the band, and so we save it until like the second to last song, and because of ad libs, the song is only 1:04, but we turn it into like a 15-minute segment. Why not, right? With stuff from the Saturday Night Live bit and people learning how to play it on all the different instruments and people twirling their batons, marching music to it. And so this becomes, they lean over into their spouse, and it's like, no, this is McSorley. It's like, that kind of thing. And so we finally get them, but until that point, it's complete torture for the guys.
But you have some songs off your album, Sports, Chasing Gold, Overtime, Mile 18, Dream Mile, Iron War, Kona, Paris 78. So obviously you love these sports. What is it about sports that brings about a theme, or it becomes anthemic to you in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, here in my studio, I always have video playing. I have a couple of great loops, highlights of many different sports, and so I love that. I love that movement, and it just the experience of being there, of being at the Ironman, the experience of me. I ran 5 New York marathons poorly, of being in the start house with Franz Klammer at the beginning of the Lauberhorn downhill in Wengen, Switzerland. Or having, Kerry Strug use a piece, or figure skaters from Russia using a piece of mine to skate to. I love writing in that format, and basically, it's all left turns. You can't write verse, chorus, bridge, and then like the hit songs. It has to be like, okay, theme, and then the brass hands off to the strings, and the strings may play it again. They hand off to maybe the drums, and so when I turned Round Ball Rock in to NBC, it was fully formed like that, where there was a place for the theme and the animation and the peacock to open up, and then there was a floor where it just went bump, bum, 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 bum. That so that Marv could say, "Here we go again. Yeah, this is happening," and then at the end it was just doom, 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 so that we could go. Brought to you by Macy's and Kohl's and Bud and that kind of stuff. So knowing the segmentation of that, and that's what you hear on the album Sports too, is the left turn. So it might be in 4/4, rock 4/4, and then it might go into a 7/8 tempo, or it might break down into just acoustic guitar, because that's the way we work out, right?
We're talking to John Tesh, National Radio Hall of Famer, 6-time Emmy Award winner, won a couple of Grammys. He created Round Ball Rock. Better theme song, Entertainment Tonight or Round Ball Rock?
Oh, Round Ball Rock. I mean, Entertainment Tonight was both. Somebody in a review called Round Ball Rock the Hallelujah Chorus for the NBA, and you can see it on people now who will say that when they hear those 7 or 8 notes, that always told them back in the day, run to the living room, because that was the start of basketball. It was the same thing with Entertainment Tonight.
But is this the Leonard Cohen, like you're talking about, Katie Lang, Hallelujah, that version? Is that what you're talking about? That kind of majestic song?
No. They were just saying that it was the 8 notes of Round Ball Rock was a hallelujah.
Oh,
the NBA is on.
Oh,
right?
okay. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice if it became that song. But with Entertainment Tonight, and I didn't write Entertainment Tonight, although we did record it. People would hum that to me in airports. And, when I flew to New York and came back, it wasn't that. It was ba 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 basketball. And people on X, right, have said over and over again, and even your fans, hey, we want to hear the lyrics first song. We don't a version of the song. Which also reminds me that, when NBC was experimenting during the preseason, right, on Peacock, there was a very serious conversation going on about no, you can't. You can't edit the theme here. It has to hit on this, and it has to go like this. So fans are in charge now.
But did you ever think about lyrics for Round Ball Rock?
Not until I saw the spoof on Saturday Night Live, when it became with Jason Sudeikis dressed like me and my brother Dave. I don't have a brother, Dave Tesh, and they were auditioning the song for Vince Vaughn, who was supposed to be Dick Ebersol at NBC, and they went ba 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 basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it, and they would high five on the dunk it. So there are a lot of people. And by the way, Dan, that when that came out in the sort of the nascency of YouTube, when YouTube was coming of age, that's when the theme came back. That was really the point that I can point to, because it was on the shelf for 20 years. When ABC got the coverage away from NBC back in the day, that was I went to ABC and said, hey, would you like another version of this song? They said, no, we're going to do our own thing. And I think the reason for that was that this has always been the NBA on NBC. And I think they're probably worried that people were going to start turning in Nielsen ratings forms with, I just saw it on NBC when they saw it on ABC, if that makes any sense. All
right. Before I let you go, can you give us a little taste of Round Ball Rock?
Yeah, I'd love to. And this song and 11 other new songs is on, you mentioned the sports record, which is which is not an easy listening record. It's a record that you would want to you would want to exercise to. So here we go.
That was fun. How often does your wife stop by and go, "Oh no, not again, round
No,
ball rock"?
it's a yeah. So it's such good questions because right over there is we're in our house, right? Right over there is my wife's office, and there's a hallway here. And when I was working on the sports record, and she would hear me, whatever melodies it was, and she would walk by and she'd go, "Football," and I'd go, "Okay, it's football." And then she'd hear something else as she was walking back, and she'd go, "Hey, hockey!" Like, what? Hockey? What do you mean watch hockey? How do you know hockey? And then she'd walk back, 2 days later, and she'd hear me do something. She'd go, "Nope, that one's horrible." And so she's definitely a producer on this record.
Great to talk to you again. Congrats on Round Ball Rock Part 2.
I'm a big fan. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. John Tesh. That was good. Playing a little round ball rock there. I liked it.